Welcome to Radically Distinct Radio with Jen Morgan. Radically Distinct Radio bridges the worlds of brand marketing and professional development to help you take control of your future and build your brand to accomplish your goals. Whether you're an individual trying to reinvent yourself to launch a new venture, or you're an executive trying to reposition your company to modernize your sales and marketing programs, Radically Distinct Radio provides insights for how to show up in the world as your most powerful brand. As a brand strategist, advertising producer, and business coach, Jen Morgan has 15 years experience helping individuals, teams, and companies create stories that inspire action. Her RAD method empowers people to be radically distinct by giving them a framework for perceiving their brand and expressing their value that sets them in a class of their own. Now, she brings the RAD method to the airwaves to help you maximize your brand power to produce results. Here's your host, Jen Morgan.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. I am so thrilled to be introducing all of you to a colleague and friend of mine, Jen Morgan. I'm Dr. Pat. And each day, each week, we get to introduce you to people in the world that are doing extraordinary things. As a matter of fact, very distinct things. Oh, well, let me be very specific. Radically distinct things in the world. And that's what Jen is about. We're launching a series with her because what you all have said, I think so often to us, is how you look to fulfill your place in the world and how daunting it is to figure that out. But that's what Jen does. Whether she's working with CEOs or she's working with entrepreneurs or people with a dream, what she's been able to do is over the past 15 plus years, help businesses provide their brands and their thought leaders with incredible value. She takes an extraordinary corporate experience, now brings it forth in the world of entrepreneurs. Beyond all of this, as an independent businesswoman, she has an incredible reputation for helping people and problem solve to the place where you can step out and be successful. How often have many of us heard about stories where people work, and we're just killing ourselves, and we don't understand where we're not producing results. Today's show is about that, introducing all of you to Radically Distinct Radio with Jen, as well as introduce you to what the RAD method is. How do you get to be this person that discovers the extraordinary nature of herself, but then also helps other people do the same thing? Today, we're going to take you on a journey, introduce you to what Radically Distinct is, introduce you to the RAD method, which is the absolute foundation for becoming radically distinct, and also demonstrate that over the next several weeks, this is more of an invitation for all of us to understand our unique proposition in the world. So I want to just give Jen just a great welcome. And we're going to have so much fun. It's great to have you here, Jen.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Dr. Pat.
It's kind of cool because we get to really talk about and start the conversation with this show, which is not just about introducing people to Radically Distinct and what that means, but introduce people for how it is possible for them. You know, it's not just something that's out there for 1 or 2% or Michael Phelps or, somebody like that. You work with people, all walks of life, and help them. So what has inspired you to show up in this way to be able to help folks become radically distinct? What happened with you?
Well, I first started out in brand advertising photography, and I was doing that for about 10 years. I got to the point where I was producing for Coca-Cola, and we had a bunch of little publications that do advertorial work. We had big name brands that we were doing work for. And the industry just started to change all of a sudden. The recession hit in 2009. And we just started to see the people who were hiring me leave. And that meant that people replacing them weren't necessarily knowledgeable about what they were asking. And it made my job very challenging. And you start to lose motivation when you're pitching projects that you aren't really that excited that you're going to get, So that's what happened first, and then I started to look around, what else will I do with this very, very distinct skill set that I have? And it was very depressing, and I went into what I would call a quarter-life crisis. and decided to do some traveling. I visited a friend of mine who lives in New York, and I found myself in an argument with I'm not a person who likes to get into arguments with people that I don't know very well. But you know, sometimes you get in a conversation, and we got into this political conversation. It's right around the recession time, and this guy says to me, he's like a stuffed shirt kind of like, you know, corporate dude, and he says, "Well, I don't believe in giving power to the masses." And I don't know what happened. Like, there was this part of me that wanted to pick up a chair and smash it over his head. You know, it was a very aggressive part of me. And, you know, I stuffed it. But in the end, what I did was I took that anger and that aggression, and I created what's the RAD method. Because I do believe that anybody can be powerful in the world. You just need to know what are, you know, the pillars of power. Yeah. So that you can figure out how can I tweak this underneath the engine so that I can show up as my best self.
Yeah, and I love talking about this because we have this stigma around the word power, especially women. And what we're learning now is that when we step into that place that you're talking about, we literally help ourselves rise up so that we can help other people. You know, we can go out in the world and do good things. You know, so it's really creating a whole new paradigm, a whole new conversation or narrative on how we step forward and claim, you know, this birthright, you know, which is really ours, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, I think that everybody talks about wanting to live their full potential.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really impossible to live your full potential on your own because you need other people to focus in their area of expertise so that you can focus in yours. Otherwise, who's going to bring food home? You know, like who's going to like literally go to the store and pick it up? So there's got to be compromise in a way in which you're doing what you do and I do what I do, and we can benefit from those things. So I think that's why you need to know what makes you radically distinct, because you need to know where you fit, and you need to know when to leave certain areas where you're not in a place where you are your most powerful, but instead are just doing what you think you need to do to get by.
Yeah. And, you know, what's fun about this is really looking at, you know, it doesn't matter what you do. You could be a massage therapist. It doesn't matter. You can be doing that and think I'm perfectly comfortable doing what I'm doing, but I've got another passion and purpose. Yet I cannot see my way from where I am today and bringing it forth. Because when you're so dedicated to what you're doing in the moment, you don't stop to think that it's possible to have anything else. Isn't that what the 5 pillars are about? Tell us about those a little bit.
Yeah, so the 5 pillars, there's passion, perception, positioning, promotion, and performance. Mm-hmm. And they work together like holding up like a structure. Like if you imagine a stage, it has to have like a platform underneath it in order that it stands up. If one side goes down, then you have a tip. You have a stage that's tilted. I don't know what to say.
No, that's right. But, yeah, you know? It's like building a house, right?
Yeah.
And you're putting your pillars in, right, in the house. And you have each of the 4 corners, right? Mm-hmm. But you forget the middle one, right? And then you build your floor, and then about a year later, you're wondering why everything is sagging in the middle.
Yeah, and I think we do that with our careers, or like we get really excited about this direction we're going to go on, and then we leave a part of ourselves behind. And we wonder why we aren't feeling fulfilled or satisfied. And sometimes people I'll talk to, they might think they want to leave their corporate job and go off on their own. They really might think that they want to do that. And as I work with them, we find out.
Not Benny, though. not Benny. Benny and I have been here for 13 bleeping years together. OMG.
Bleeping years.
Well, I didn't want you to bleep me.
No, I know. I get you.
But you're right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so people might want to leave, and sometimes it might just be really taking a bigger picture of what's missing in your life and finding ways to pull another aspect of them. So, for example, if you're not very good at promoting yourself, then you can continually feel like you're not seen in your organization and you're not getting the appreciation and recognition you deserve. So it may not actually be that you're in a job that's wrong for you. It might just be that you're not showing up so that people can see you in a way in which they can
watch this.
Give you the love back.
Watch this now. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, all of y'all out there, ready? If you think you do a really, really good job at promoting yourself, raise your hands real high. Okay, you guys on the Dr. Pat team, I'm watching you now. Come on, you can get them up there. You can. No, we don't know.
Yeah.
No, Benny, you didn't even put your hand up. I don't even know what happened over there to you. But you're right about this. And then there's the idea of picking not exactly the right person to work with. I just heard that story the other day by somebody who was like, oh, my gosh, I've been burned so many times. How many times you heard that?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's really challenging to find the right person to work with because in some ways you have to have an experience where you found the wrong person to find the one
Yeah.
that's right. There is that, and then I think it's also challenging because especially when we're talking about business, everybody has an agenda, and they're like a website company wants to sell you a website. They're not going to look out for you and know if you're ready for the website or if you've got a marketing strategy that's going to include the website. So it's really important that you have somebody on your team, somebody like me, who can make sure that you are choosing the right strategy first, the right aspect. But which pillar are you working on first? Because that can make the difference between whether or not you have the energy and the momentum and the money to move forward to the next one, to grow.
Yeah. And I want to say that when we're talking about money here for all of us, what I want to just make sure that you all are clear about is those of us sitting here have invested in ourselves to be here. I don't think that there's anyone that you might be able to point to that hasn't done that. And what I think, Jen, you're talking about is really knowing the right places to invest in. And we don't. And without talking with you to kind of help people figure out where they are in their journey, where are you, then we can go off and make decisions that aren't going to benefit us. But this is really what we're talking about in launching the series, isn't it? We're starting today with introducing the RAD method, and then we're going to continue and really get deep into this. So this is exciting for many people that are listening today to know how they can get help. But this idea of being powerful, can you be powerful if you're not radically distinct? And I love that term, that whole radically distinct thing. It's really, I mean, right?
Yeah, it's a very dynamic phrase.
Well,
yeah.
Look at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sorry. The question, you missed the question, and then you sent me to the Olympics, and now I'm like, what was the question?
Yeah, well, radically distinct.
Yes, radically
right?
distinct.
I mean, everybody in the world is talking about who right now? Usain Bolt. Yeah. So, right. So we're talking about people that have excelled and put themselves out there. In the world we live in, we know other people or neighbors maybe that have done things that, kind of set them apart. Mm-hmm. But that's part of being radically distinct and stepping into that and being powerful as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the question that you had said earlier was, can you be powerful if you're not radically distinct?
Yeah.
And I think the answer is no. And it's not enough to just be powerful because Blockbuster was a powerful brand back in 2000. And when Netflix approached them with, hey, buy us and make us a part of your portfolio, Blockbuster was a big dog. They didn't need Netflix. They didn't feel like they needed to look forward to the future. And so they said no. And Netflix demolished Blockbuster. So it's not just about being powerful. It's about, are you aligned to the future? And are you looking at how things are changing so that you're adaptable? That's really being radically distinct. You're today powerful, but you're also making moves so that you are continuing to keep yourself in a space in which you're competitive. And I don't think individuals feel comfortable oftentimes thinking of themselves as competitive. But the truth of the matter is that attention is currency today, and your time is money. So, it doesn't matter if you're talking to your kids or if you're trying to get your boss's attention or you're trying to get customers. There are so many distractions in the world that there's a study done in 2011 that said people change between 3 different technological devices 21 times an hour. That means like humans now have this whole other thing that they're dealing with. Aside from getting food on the table, going to work, raising a family, we now have this like technology thing that is like not really human, but it is kind of like attached to us as if it is. So our time is in demand and attention is currency. And if you don't think that you're in competition with other people around you for time and resources, then you're going to get left behind.
We're going to take a short break, but I'll tell you, I had that experience right out there in the whole renovation that was done there. They got a new kitchen out there. I could not figure out how to buy an energy drink from that new machine out there that I needed to have some card with that I didn't understand. And then I had to figure out how to scan the thing. It was mind-blowing for me, to buy an energy thing. And, I could have just taken it and said to Benny, I don't know how to pay for this, dude. But you're right. We're faced with this every day. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to tap into what this means. What are the five pillars of a powerful brand? What is the RAD method? Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Radically Distinct Radio. Jen Morgan and me, I'm Dr. Pat. We'll be right back.
I used to rule the world
brand consultant Jen Morgan is here with Radically Distinct Radio to help you take control of your future and maximize your brand's power to produce results. Whether you're in